So I've got a lot of questions recently about how to select different weights in the gym and how to do it from a strength perspective versus an endurance perspective. So I'm a big fan of the RPE system, right, which is the rate of perceived exertion, and you can use this in any capacity when you're picking weights. The reason I like it, and it can be a little bit confusing, so that's why I wanted to make this video, was it allows you to pick on the reps by the way you feel that day. So if you're tired, so you didn't get a lot to, you're a new mom or dad, you're not getting a lot of sleep, or you just had a bad night's sleep, or you're not super hydrated, or you haven't eaten. So say you're working at 5 a.m. versus if you're working out at lunchtime. There's a different way on how you feel. So it goes off of the way that you feel, not just the percentage of the weight that you've done in the past. So rate of perceived exertion, the way this works, so we look at a scale from 10 to 1. This is how you feel on a scale of 10 to 1. So if I look at hey, what's the max amount of weight I can do? We're going to chat about this on the rep scale. So you can use this for anything. So when we think about RPE, the main strength zone we want to be in is somewhere between the 10 and the 7. From endurance, you want to be somewhere between 6 and 4. So how do we use the RPE when you think about it psychologically? So an RPE, a true 1 rep max. So say I'm going to be, let's talk about a deadlift. It's the most weight I could possibly pick off the floor for 1 repetition. If I can pick up, say I can pick up 300 pounds. So I can pick up 300 pounds and I can't do 1 more rep of that 300 pounds, that is a true RPE 10, the max effort I can possibly give for that 1 rep max. Now, say I do 300 pounds, but the max that I could do it was for 2 repetitions. If I could do it for 2 repetitions, that means the RPE was 9. Now, say I could do it for 3 repetitions, that means the RPE was 8. So if you think about it, it has a lot more to do with reps. So from a perceived exertion, a lot of times what I'll ask people when they're in the gym is I'll say, how many more repetitions could you have done? So say we're doing this for 1 rep max. And they're like, well, I feel like at that weight. So say you do 100 pounds. And you say, well, I could do that rate probably 6 more times. The way you'd work back is you'd subtract the 6 from the 10. So that would be an RPE of 4. Because it means you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more repetitions. I hope that makes sense. The idea behind that is that in this strength building, you want to be doing all of your sets and reps in a position where really you could only do 2 or so more reps. Research has really shown from a science perspective that the 8 is where you want to be. So if I'm doing an exercise and we're doing for a set, now here's where it gets a little confusing for most people. Say all of a sudden I'm doing 3 reps. So we're doing 6 sets of 3 reps. 2 or 3 of those sets should be within these working sets of where you're working up to the weight, but the last 3 sets or so should be in this RPE 8 zone. So here's where it gets confusing. So follow me. If I'm going to do 3 repetitions and I want to be at an RPE of 8, I would complete the repetitions of the weight for 3 reps. However, I'm going to pick a weight that I feel as though I could do 2 additional reps. So it's a weight that I feel like I could do 5 times, but I'm only going to do it for 3. That's a true RPE 8. If I felt like I could only do 3 repetitions and I couldn't do a single rep more, that at 3 reps is an RPE of 10. Now I might have lost some people, so let me talk about the difference. It's no different than we talked about the RPE or the rep for 1. If I do a 1 rep max, my max RPE of the 1 rep max is going to be 10. If I can do a 2nd rep or a 3rd rep, it's going to be, for a 2nd rep, it'd be 9, and for a 3rd rep, it would be 8, and so on and so forth down the ladder. It doesn't matter on this scale if we change the repetitions here. So if we're doing a 2 rep max, this means here that the most I could possibly do for 2 repetitions, that's my RPE of 10 at a 2 rep max. So these don't influence these, other than the fact that the numbers from a subtraction perspective are just about effort. The max effort you possibly could give, right? And then so forth down. Now, when we talk about the selection of weights and how this works, you really want to set, again, for strength purposes, you want to stay in this 7 to 10 range, ideally around 8. So when we're working on a 6 sets of 3, you'd like to do as many sets at that RPE of 8, which is really picking a weight of 5 that you can do 5 times, but you only do it for 3 repetitions. Now, why does that matter from a science perspective? Because scientifically, if you were going to do 3, 4, 5 sets at an RPE of 10 at your max for a 3, you're probably not going to be able to complete all of the repetitions. So say that we're looking at 4 sets of 3, which is 12 repetitions total. If I were to do it all at a 10, the max effort I possibly could, I'm probably gonna miss, I'm gonna fatigue. So I'm gonna miss a couple of those last reps on those last sets. So say the first set, you get all of them up at that 10, right, for 3. The second set, you get 6. The third set, you only get 2. And the fourth set, you only get 2. You only completed 10 of the 12 reps. Well, the research has shown that if you can do it at an 8, you will almost always complete all 12 of those repetitions. And while that doesn't seem like a lot, it's kind of like the basketball Kobe effect. You get those 2 repetitions, but over time, so say 52 weeks in a year, that's 100 plus more repetitions that you got here at this weight than you did here. You don't go to super max failure. You want to stay within the sub-max failure. It's sub-maximal training, but it's still at the best possible level you can. And that's why people in research have shown that if you do something at RPE 8, even 9, and you can complete all of the repetitions, that's where you build the most max strength. I hope this was helpful. I know it's a confusing system. If you have any questions, you can leave comments below in the video, or you can reach out to any one of our trainers. We're happy to explain how the RPE system works a little bit more in detail.